Championship Series next on Fox.
Last night in the city that never sleeps, the St. Louis Cardinals were ready to rumble and tie this series at 2. And in the first, a Jim Edmonds drive would help keep the Cardinals' dream alive.
That will do the job into deep right field, back at the wall, home run.
But later in the first, the gutsy Mets would prove to be double trouble for the Cards.
There's another double, and it's 4-2 Mets.
But in postseason baseball, you live for today, and St. Louis was ready to play. And back and forth they would go.
And Piazza gets him to run the left. Way out of here. Base hit to right by Edmonds, and it's a 2-run game.
It was anybody's game until the 6th. Right here, right now, the New York Mets stand just one single victory away from representing the National League in the very first World Series of the new century. But a wise old baseball man once said, it ain't over till it's over. Game 5 of the NLCS is next on Fox. The Autotrader.com pregame show is brought to you by Autotrader.com, the biggest, best used car site on the planet.
Arrive here at Shea Stadium intent on winning the National League pennant tonight. The Mets go with one of their lefty aces, Mike Hampton. The Cardinals with a pitcher in whom they are less than fully confident, Pat Hentgen. And there is a superstar here suffering from patellar tendonitis of the right knee, and he is not Mark McGwire. Will Clark has sought a World Series ring through 15 Major League seasons. Timo Perez through 32 Major League games. From Indian summer to New York autumn, it rained off and on most of the day. Misty water-colored memories tonight. We are assured most of the rain is over. We have nonetheless drawn hats. From Shea Stadium in New York, it is the potentially decisive 5th game of the National League Championship Series and the Autotrader.com pregame show. With Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, and Bob Brenly standing by for the play-by-play, and alongside Steve Lyons, I'm Keith Olbermann. Bobby Valentine has denied it outright, but there are many of us who do not believe it. He swears Timo Perez, the best leadoff man of the moment, the best right fielder of the moment, the best throwing arm of the moment, did indeed play in Japan the last 4 years and was not actually built somewhere in a dimly lit experimental cloning lab in the bowels of Shea Stadium. See, the Dodgers traded him away in 1983, 5 years before their World Series. The Reds traded him away in December 1989 and won the World Series without him in October 1990. He has never been to the World Series. For Robin Ventura, who had a 58-game hitting streak in college, and for Todd Zeile, and for Darrell Hamilton, and for Rick Reed, it is 12 years. For Mike Hampton and Bobby Jones and Turk Wendell, it is 8. For Todd Pratt, it is 8, plus a year in Double-A as a player coach and a year in pizza delivery management. And for some, it is more even than just time invested. It is geography, like Timo Perez. And perhaps most poignant of all, there is time and geography and physical perseverance. Elbow surgery in 1995, elbow surgery in 1996, elbow surgery in 1997, shoulder surgery in 1999. Almost forced to retire at age 27, having had more operations than Major League runs scored. Jay Payton, the World Series is...
Stolen base, E2, runner at third, nobody down. The short under the glove of Renteria, and the Mets are on top 1-0. Perez scored on the hit by Alfonso, and now 3-0 on Piazza. Tailing back, but low, ball 4-2. Digging for third is Piazza, 2-0 New York in the first.
Baseball is a game of first. Last night, 4 doubles in the first inning. Double trouble indeed. Tonight's single.
Better and better. A 2-0 Mets lead in the first. Zeile with first and third. No expense of the Cardinals in '96 on the part of the Braves. But a much different story there. The Braves with a kind of pet there. 2 balls, no strikes. Zeal takes a strike, and Zeal grounds one to second. Pena kicks it. Dropped at first by Clark. In to score Piazza. 3-0 Mets. And Zeal's on at first with only 1 out. You talk about 2 ugly nights of defense last night and now here in the first inning. The play by Renteria. Pena kicks it at the start of this play, and Clark misses it on the back end of it.
And an error on Carlos Hernandez. The boot by Pena. And that ball should have been handled by Will Clark. No error on the play. Looks like the ball.
Very quietly, Benny Agbayani had 2-0.
Ground.
2-0 to Agbayani's a strike. And a 2-1 pitch coming to Agbayani. 3-1.
That's one of the few times that I
held up at second, and the bases are loaded with only 1 out.
Todd Zeal had to hold up because from his vantage point, he couldn't tell whether Pena had a shot at that double play.
It's already leading by 3. 0-1 the count on Bordick. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's a big out for Henkin and the Cardinals with a pitcher coming up as Clark puts it away. Infield fly rule in effect. 2 out.
On the ice.
He got nailed at Fleury.
That's going to do it. Rangers will run out of time. Messier's got it. Fleury has it, and that's the
With his finger in his left ear as the extra row of speakers are absolutely making this place shake with joy. And this wall banger off the bat of Zeal plates 3 and busts it open. 6-0 here in the 4th inning.
Joe, I have announced in this stadium for 21 years, and I have never felt this booth shaking until tonight. And I mean literally shaking.
For the first time since 1986, the Mets are going to the World Series.
Mets fans are partying like it's 1986 for the first time in 14 years. The Mets are going to the World Series after beating the Cards 7-0. Good evening, I'm Rosanna Scotto.
And I'm Harry Martin in for John Rowland.
Thanks for waiting, and there's no waiting for the celebration. It's underway at Shea. You have your shirt?
That's right, we got our shirts.
Right
the Mets
off the
won
presses.
the National League pennant. These are hot off the presses. New Yorkers hope that the next opponent is going to be, of course, the Yankees in the Subway World Series.
That's right. You know we're going to have team coverage from Shea all during our program. Penny's been talking with the fans, but we start with Kurt and the players. Kurt.
Well, Rosanna, as you said, for the first time since 1956, it looks like it could be, and we stress could be because the Yankees haven't gotten there just yet, a Subway World Series. The Mets doing their part, winning the National League pennant tonight for the first time since 1986 in Game 5, which you just saw here on Fox 5. They took on the St. Louis Cardinals and got an amazing performance from their starter, Mike Hampton. Hampton, complete game, struck out 8, gave up only 3 hits, and didn't give up a run. Then in the 4th inning, the game was blown open. 2 out, bases loaded. Todd Zeal with a double off the wall, 3-run score. Mets take a 6-0 lead, and as I said, with Hampton pitching a shutout, that was more than enough. Final out of the ball game. Hampton on the mound. Timo Perez playing in center field, celebrating before he even makes the catch, and then a lot more celebration afterwards. The Mets have won the National League Championship. After the final out was made, this is the scene on the field. Players were hugging each other, obviously, but one of the things that the players said they wanted to do was get the Mets fans involved in this post-game celebration, and did they. They ran around the field, celebrating with the fans every chance they could get, running all around. There you see Benny Agbayani, and he's doing the parade tour with the fans. And right now, running out of the clubhouse, John Franco, Mets reliever. You grew up in Brooklyn. You waited 16 years in the majors. You're in the World Series, buddy. How is it?
It's great, man. It's a great feeling. I mean, that kid, I'm speechless right now.
That's a first for you.
Yes, it is.
Well, one of the things you guys talked about trying to get the fans involved in this, and you took the lap around the field.
What they? Yeah, they're awesome. I mean, the fans got everything. I mean, from the first inning on. It's been great.
You guys come out here and you see these fans, and you come here and you talk about trying to clinch it at home. How important was it to do it tonight?
Well, it's very important. I think we want to get back on that plane and go to St. Louis. That's a tough place to play. But, you know, Mike Hampton did an unbelievable job. I think when we came out and scored 3 runs right away, put a little pressure on them, and then we just kept adding on. That's a great feeling.
Let me ask you, I have to ask you about the Jay Payton incident at the bottom of the 8th inning there. You guys seemed to just kind of calm down after that, where a lot of people thought you might retaliate. Just get your 3 outs and get to the World Series. Was that the image?
That's it. You know, you don't know if he did it on purpose or not, but just a good thing that Jay didn't get hurt. And Mike kept his composure, came out and got 3 quick outs, and now we're celebrating. All
right, you're there now. Before you had to be politically correct and say, oh, we got to get past St. Louis. You're there. Do you want to see the Yankees?
It don't matter. It don't matter. As long as we're there. We're just there.
Is it as good as you thought it would be after 16 years?
Feeling. It's a great feeling. 17 years, well worth it.
All right, thanks a lot for joining us, John. Congratulations. That's Mets reliever John Franco. We talked about him. He grew up in Brooklyn, a baseball New York fan his entire life. Now he will be representing the New York Mets in the World Series, which begins on Saturday. We'll be back with more, including more players live and more post-game reaction right here at Shea Stadium. But for now, we send it back to the studio, Harry and Rosanna. Actually, we're going to go to the podium where Bobby Valentine, the Mets manager, is speaking.
2 of the greatest players I've ever managed, and they're getting the big stage right where they belong, along with the other 23 guys and trainers and members of this organization who sweat and work so hard to do everything they had to do. So I was kind of saying a little prayer of thanks there, to tell you the truth.
How about for you? Are you happy for yourself?
Yeah, I'm really happy for my friends who stuck by me, from my family, my mom, dad, my brother and his family, and my wife Mary and Bobby, who have been so close to me, and all my friends who've always been there believing. I'm very, very, very happy for them, because they are the true extension of me.
Another one for Bobby? Hal? If it is the Yankees, will it be exciting to play the Yankees?
You can't get any more exciting than it was here, with a full stadium, people on their feet the entire time, our dugout with the electricity that there was. You know, I think it'd be exciting for a lot of Yankee and Met fans around the country and here in New York, and extra exciting for them. But, you know, the World Series is the World Series. We're going to be as excited as possible.
Will it be possible to put the incident of last summer behind you if it is the Yankees? Roger Clemens and Mike Piazza, I think he's referring to.
You know, the battle is the battle, and you know, when a thing like that happens, it's part of the battle. But we're now trying to complete this campaign, and that's a very little thing.
Mark?
Bobby, can you speak to Mike's performance tonight?
Can you speak to Mike's performance tonight?
I mean, you guys are the people who could put words together. He was fabulous. He was, you know, extremely competitive. Did everything that anyone could hope for him to do in, I guess, the biggest game of his life, and mine too.
Yeah. Do you think Peyton was intentionally hit?
I talked to Mike Hampton, who knows Veers really, really well. He's sure that it wasn't. And when I met with Tony out on the field there, Tony assured me on everything that's sacred that was anything other than, you know, an accident.
If this was the biggest game you ever managed, was it also one of the easiest?
Yeah, when you have great players playing great, it makes my job really easy. So, you know, I had outstanding guys doing what they can do, and that makes me happy. And it made it easy on me.
Tom?
That's Mets manager Bobby Valentine, the National League Championship manager Bobby Valentine. We'll be back live with Mets pitcher Mike Hampton, who is the MVP of this NLCS, coming up with us in just a bit. But right now, let's send it back to the studio and you, Rosanna, while we wait on the mic.
Okay, thanks, Kurt. Next up for the Mets and Fox 5, the World Series Game 1 is Saturday night, and we've got it here. Our coverage starts with our pregame at 7:30. Keep your fingers crossed. Let's hope the Yankees get there, too. Penny right now is outside Shea with a wild bunch of Met fans. Penny.
Hi, Roseanne. I hope you can hear me. You know, some of us are Yankee fans, and some of us are Mets fans. But one thing I got to tell you, these Mets have a lot of heart, and they did believe, and it did happen. They love their Mets. Let's go to what happened earlier. What makes the Mets tick? A lot of skill, a lot of heart, and a lot of luck. For instance, pitcher John Franco's lucky charm is his son.
I came out here early yesterday and today, and it was good luck yesterday, so we kept him out, and hopefully it'll be good luck today.
He's a hell of a hitter.
Yeah, he's pretty good, pretty good athlete.
For Mets fans, it's a love for their team and also luck. You did something special, right?
Should, yeah, I did something special.
Let me see.
All right, here we go.
It's been obvious the players are excited and lighthearted. On the field, they're joking.
A team that fans of both ball clubs can really root for. We think this is a great and beautiful idea. We call this team the New York Yets.
Let's go, Yets!
Isn't that a great idea? You see, if you combine the Yankees with the Mets, you get Yets. And it's a fantastic idea. I mean, this is a really fun way for all New York fans to come together.
Hey, Yets! You suck! That's right. Go, Yankees! Hey, Yankees can kiss my ass! Oh, really? You want a piece of me? Come on! Let's go! Come on! Right now! Yeah. What come on, you want some of this? What are you want some of this? The Yankees and the Yets! The blue teams are fighting! They're promoting! We didn't know which one was gonna win! And we thought it would solve the problem by getting... By getting them, we thought that they would solve the problem.
You've got to shut up. Wow, he's bummed. All right. His late night's very own husband and wife, Todd Zeal. The Mets going to join.
BC, and they start talking about how the Subway Series may affect national financial situation, and I was thinking to myself, that seems a little odd, and that's an awful lot of extra pressure that we really didn't need.
Yeah.
And
they may have just gone insane at CNBC.
Could be, but they talked about the history of the previous Subway Series and how if the Yankees won, it affected the financial situation one way, and if the other teams won, it went down. And you know, I think they were rooting for the Yankees because everything seemed to go up after that. But
they said for financial reasons the Yankees need to win?
They didn't say they need to win. They said in the previous Subway Series that when the Yankees won, especially in an election year, it affected the financial market positively. So
if you win, you're going to destroy the nation's economy.
Absolutely. That's the kind of pressure we have to deal with every day.
Thanks a lot, pal. Yes. Now, what's interesting is after beating the Cardinals, the locker room scene was insane. And I started noticing, I was watching footage of it, and you're noticing all these people who don't look like they belong to the media just walking into the locker room. It's one of those situations where everybody wants to be involved. Did you notice a lot of strange people popping up in the locker room?
Yeah, that starts to happen the further along you go in the postseason anyway. You start to notice more people have press credentials and more people are in the tunnel. But especially in the celebration, you get the media that is first in line. They get there, they kind of see the champagne pop. But once we start inviting people from outside the, the locker room inside for ourselves, then I think that means free reign. You don't need a credential to get in. So you see some people standing in corners with cameras and stuff that you know have never interviewed you and have no desire to be a part of the actual press, but they want to be involved in the situation.
And you're just standing there naked talking to Abe Vigoda or some weird celebrity who just wormed their way in.
We try in the celebration scene to, refrain from taking the shower until after we clear everybody out.
Good plan. Because that could affect our economy.
Absolutely.
Now, are you, I understand you guys are a little superstitious about music.
As
players, the Mets have been listening to a certain kind of music throughout the year.
Yeah, well, it started with, we went on a hot streak when I brought a Led Zeppelin, an old Led Zeppelin CD, and started playing it pregame, and Mike Piazza, got hot. And so it had to be Zeppelin every day. When we finally cooled down, and he cooled down a little bit, we went to AC/DC, a little Back in Black.
And that got you going again.
Black jerseys and all that stuff we got going again. But for the playoffs, we've been a little more nostalgic. We got some old guys on the team, relatively speaking, old guys that want to have the nostalgic feel first time in the World Series and such. And so Boston has been the key for us lately. So.
What are you doing?
The irony of it is...
Are you insane? You're playing more than a feeling before you go out and play a game?
Yeah, exactly.
More than a feeling. What do you, I mean, yeah. That's not what's going to rev you up to get out there, is it?
That's good. Johnny Franco, Al Leiter, myself, Mike, some of the guys that have been around a little bit. No, that it's just nice to change the pace. And Johnny's a big...
just try, yeah, but you
Johnny's a big retro guy. So Johnny threw on Boston. We had a win. We went on a winning streak, and then... Boston, it is, and the irony of it is that Boston was the last time we played the World Series was against the,
Yeah,
Boston Red Sox. Aren't you from Boston? Yeah.
Yeah, I am from Boston. Thanks, pal. I remember that well. Why don't, before you play the Yankees, why don't you put some Poco on?
There you go.
All right?
We'll have to work that.
That'll throw you into a nice rhythm. No, I would think you would just stick with what brung you. Whatever worked for you during the year, stick with that. Don't change to show tunes now.
Well, guys are too superstitious to let that happen. Anytime you go through a bad streak, it must be the socks you wore, or the underpants, or the way you got dressed. It has nothing to do with, your personal talent or not succeeding on the field.
All right, now, you brought up Boston's humiliating defeat back in '86, so I'm going to bring up your guys' mascot, Mr. Met. That's the worst mascot I have ever seen. Can we see a shot of Mr. Met here? What is... No, I'm sorry. Even die-hard Mets fans are like, woo, Mr. Met. He looks diseased. He looks like he's got hydroencephalitis or something. Put a shunt in there. Drain that. I mean, that's...
You don't think that incites, enthusiasm and...
No, I don't think a man with a giant baseball head is the best.
Exactly. See, that's exactly what my daughter calls him, Mr. Baseball Head. And I thought she was actually very frightened of him initially until we told her that it's actually a good thing, so she's accepted it now.
Mr. Baseball Head.
Exactly.
Okay, let's just start calling him that, Mr. Giant Diseased Baseball Head. Well, listen, either way, good mascot or not, best of luck.
Thank you.
To you guys, and thanks very much for stopping by.
It's always a pleasure.
Very cool to have you here.
Thank you.
On the show, Tom Veal, everybody. We'll be right back. Iced tea coming up. Stick around.